Right.
Oh, no, we haven't.
Bugün yesterday drum dancing.
Okay,
You
so,
remember everything.
good. So, you're taking the upstairs to tour, which means that we start out at the Neptune pool, then we go over to Casa Grande, we go inside the Daisy Suites, Southern Cloister, the library, Mr. Hurst's private Gothic suite and study, and then we go all the way up to the Celestials, the highest point that you can find inside Casa Grande, and then we start descending down. I'm going to briefly go over the rules with you again, because we're an accredited museum. I want you to touch absolutely nothing, including the trees and the fruit, the marble. This is an accredited museum, as I said. Stay on the gray carpet when you're inside. It's very important. It looks like a Home Depot carpet. If you get off, that will remind you to get back. Also, while you're taking pictures, take as many as you wish, but turn your flash off when you're inside. One flash is the equivalent of 3 days of sunlight, so that's your way of helping us protect the stage. Also, we're going to stay together as a group today. You cannot linger by yourself in a room. If you do that, when we wait for you, you're only disrupting yourself. All right, this is a one-way tour, and it is fun. All right, Neptune Pool. 1924, Mr. Hurst contacted me through the morning. He said, this morning my wife knows she and my 5 sons are still about the pool. But we should dig in the pool because it's not outside of alcohol. So Mr. Hurst suffered from alcohol, very nice of wine. He said that, not one mental. And this morning he finished the project and he looked at say, that's right, she won. In 1926, she gave the second version of the pool, which was the size of the black oak hips. In 1936, she gave the third and final version of entire estate was called 503, and she would build 700 buildings in her lifetime, 200 more in her lifetime. That's amazing. Anybody have any questions? No. All right, let's make our way up toward Casa Grande.
It's 100 years old.
I'm not thinking of it, just trying to get a picture from a different angle.
Everybody, we're on the north terrace. We're facing the Perpendicular Mountain. We start in southern Scotland. So as far as your eye can see up to the horizon, about 37 miles. We're standing in front of Casa del Monte, House of the Mountain. This is the smallest of the cottages at approximately 20,000 square feet. It is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. Probably the most famous place to stay here is this one in 1929. I bought this one with Robert Andy's nephew, and in 1989 between 20 years. Hey folks, we want to make our way over to Casa.
Знаєш, що робить? Тут в цьому домике Винстон Черчилль жив. Я б теж би пожив. Я не Винстон.
Well, best as you can. Yeah. Hurst needs to stay with us.
Серега, слышал, что он сказал? Она сказала, что ты должен держаться в группе.
Okay, everybody, we're on the north side of Casa Grande. Casa Grande has 115 rooms, 38 bedrooms, 42 bathrooms, and 68,500 square feet. 14,000 of that is basement space. It's modeled after a cathedral in Ronda, Spain called the Santa Maria la Mayor, which only has one bell tower. Miss Morgan gives us two bell towers up here. The actress Carmen Moore said that if you had been invited to Casa Grande, you had felt and signed the Doge's suite, you felt like you really had made it in life. So we're going to go to the Doge's right now and talk more.
Just use the handrails. It's a long hike.
Hi.
Have fun.
Okay, everybody, we are in the Doge's suites. They're comprised of 2 bedrooms and 1 sitting room. It would be very typical of Mr. Hurst to assign a married couple to the suite. Husband would stay here, wife would stay in the adjoining bedroom. They would share the sitting room. This is a sign of propriety as well as affluence. So Mr. Hurst believed in modifying the art to fit the space. What we mean by that is that above you is an 18th century Italian ceiling made of wood. He thought nothing of cutting it up in order for it to fit the room. He also just used 1/2 of a sacristy door. I'm pointing to it now. It leads to the bathroom. Sacristies were rooms that the clergy would change into their robes or vestments before a ceremony or mass. They would wear something like these 18th century French chasubles that are hanging on either side of the bureau here. Miss Morgan also knew how much Mr. Hurst loved the Doge's Palace in Venice. They are known for their delicate pink marble columns, the brocaded Gothic arches, and so she gives Mr. Hurst a facsimile of those right here on the left-hand side in the sitting room. Everybody, we're in the sitting room here. If you had been invited and put in this suite, you may have found yourself sitting on the 17th century chair, writing a letter home on the Spanish writing desk. You may have looked up, noticed the painting above you. This is called the Annunciation to the Shepherds, basically heralding the birth of Christ. This is from the school of Abraham the Logite. And then it's surrounded by 8 panels which contain the 8 virtues. For instance, the virtue of patience up here in the southeast corner. You'll notice that there are 2 doors in the front of the room here. They lead into hallways which have closets. If you were in need of help at any time, or maybe help with your attire, pick up one of the 100 telephones inside Casa Grande. Mr. Hurst had a 24/7 switchboard. You could make calls, receive calls, whatever it is that you wanted to do. If you did need help with your attire, leave what you needed tended to inside the closet. That's where it would be returned. You didn't have to see any if you didn't want to. I already told you that Mr. Hurst believed in modifying the art to fit the space. You are gonna recognize the ceiling in the next room. Before we go, do you have any questions?
Well, I was just wondering, like, when in like the 1920s, when Hearst like lived here, how many people used to work on this?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there is room, in the, south wing for 36 people. But you gotta remember that this was only supposed to be a, two-story building that ends up being 4. And so what that means is there are construction workers here, right, not on weekends, but during the week. So there could be up to 100 people every day.
The 36 were the staff.
Okay, folks, you're gonna go into the
200
next.
человек. Постоянно тут работали на стройке, но 37 прислуга была. У них классный язык.
The bathrooms all look like 21st century bathrooms.
Yeah.
She did,
That's shocked.
most, all the bathrooms in Casa Grande are marble, mostly Italian. Okay, everybody, if you look up, you recognize the
Итальянский
ceiling.
мрамор здесь везде.
This is the second half of the other one. We have the second half of the sacristy door here, beds in the same place, mantelpieces in the same place as well. Speaking to Miss Morgan's desire for symmetry. The next set of bedrooms we're going to go see, the south cloister. Mr. Hurst believed in separating people. He put single female movie stars in the south cloister. He put single male movie stars in the cottages. He didn't want any canoodling going on during the early morning hours. I doubt he accomplished that, but he gave it a go. Right? Despite his private life, some of you don't know that Mr. Hurst married Millicent Wilson in 1903. They had 5 boys. They separated in 1926. They never divorced. Millicent is an devout Catholic. And she also knows that if you're a divorcee, back then your life is over. So she's going to be close to the money, keep the first family name. But not all marriages last, and theirs certainly did not. And the reason for it, of course, is because Mr. Hurst is fooling around. In the 1920s, he was still living in New York. And before that, I should say. And he used to go to the theater every night. And he became known as a backstage door Johnny, much like his cohorts, which meant that he brought candy and flowers to his most favorite actress in 1915. That was Marion Davies. Marion started out as a Ziegfeld girl, which was a dancer. Then she goes into silent movies as an actress, and then into talkies. She made over 41 movies. If any of you have seen Lucille Ball, I Love Lucy reruns, you know what type of comedian Marion was. She's very popular, second only to Mary Pickford for box office scores. She also was responsible for making her own fortune in real estate, and she becomes a philanthropist for children's causes for the rest of her adult life. And we don't bring her up for gossip. We bring her up because she's very important to the estate. She became hostess of this estate, and she was also the reason why a lot of movie stars came up. So next we'll go up to the cloisters. Folks, these are the cloisters that you're looking into, made to be shared, whether you do the pursuit or not. They also have 2 bathrooms in each room. They didn't have a bathroom. So the south side is the ones up here can get Mr. Hurston this time tried to keep them dry with wooden shutters that would be locked into the snow and upset the water would still collect on the floor. This morning sloped the floors out, you can feel it. She also put holes intermittently throughout the bottom of the floor here, the sides of the floor, so the excess water would trickle down on top of the wall. We would just take parts of the apartment, they got permission to put these windows in here. We did so in 1957. This is the south wing I referred to earlier this morning. So this is where the 36 members of the service staff would stay. The only kitchen on the property is on the bottom floor there. Mr. Hurst did not believe in room service. He did believe you're eventually going to get thirsty and hungry. And he wants you to come up all the time. Get out of your room. Enjoy this wonderful air up here. Take advantage of all these amenities.
So there's no kitchen in this big Casa Grande?
Well, the south wing connects to Casa Grande.
Okay.
It's if you're in the refectory, the dining hall, it's right over there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So if you, breakfast and lunch were provided for you. You did not need to attend. Say if you wanted a picnic for the day, go into that kitchen, request one, it would be made up for you, and then you could take it home to those 30 automobiles that were up here for your pleasure, so you could enjoy it. Maybe if you wanted to go horseback riding, we would have a picnic for you, a car would go ahead of you to set up your picnic for you. If you're staying overnight, we would set up tents for you. I'm going to talk about the view while we're here. You see a rectangle of water down there on the left-hand side. That's a reservoir that still helps raise the Hearst family cattle. In 2005, there was a deal struck between the Hearst family and the state parks department, and that deal said the Hearst family will be 13 more miles of beachfront buffers. In exchange, the Hearst family gets to raise cattle. So the Hearst family still owns 50,000 acres. We're standing on 127 acres. To the right of that reservoir, there's a cypress grove. Underneath that cypress grove is George Hurst's house that was complete in 1972. That's when he was found. This is where the Hearst family stay when the family visit. There are over 80 descendants of the Hearst family, and they have to make a reservation there when they want to come. Treat it like an Airbnb, so to speak. When they have their fundraisers, their private events, they cannot sit anywhere, they cannot cook anything. They have to cater in their own furniture as well. A good example is a great-great-granddaughter got married up here last year on October 19th. She had to have her own dining room built when they went to Paris. Took them 3 days to build, 1 day to go down. And then some of you at the end might be able to see Mr. Hurst's private airstrip. You'll be able to see it if you can't now when you go down on the bus. It's the third airstrip that Julian Morgan built Mr. Hurst. His planes just kept getting bigger and bigger. If you had your own pilot's license, take out Mr. Hurst's plane. What was his to do? As we continue, there's one more example of a cloister here. Watch your step as we make our way into the library.
Сюда тут ступеньки. Thank you.
Okay, folks, this is Mr. Hurst's elevator here, made by the Otis Elevator Company, still in business today. Everybody in the library here. Above you is 16th century Spanish ceiling with deep coffers wired for electricity. There are 4 4,100 volumes of books in this room, ranging in subject from art, architecture, literature, science, geography, math, travel, and the state of California. The oldest set of books, a volume of 8 by the playwright Moliere, published in 1680. Above these books, a lot of vases you can see. They're Greek and Etruscan. Mr. Hurst used to have the largest collection of vases in the world at one time, at about 450. They were not part of the exchange in 1957. They remained in New York. His sons decided to keep some of them. They also donated some to the LA County Museum, and they donated 155 vases here. They kept down earthquake rats and relapse. Oldest vase in their collection, behind me, in the corner. It's called the Bearing Amphora, and it's approximately 2,800 years old. So this was not a castle or an estate for Mr. Hurst. This was a retreat for the movers and shakers of the time. How about can enjoy this private beaches, his horseback riding, his tennis, his billiards. Whatever it is you wanted, the only thing that he wanted in return was that you all been interested. You've been invited up here because you all have been something. He wants to find out what it is. He used to own 28 newspapers and 2 magazines, countless radio stations, and movie production studio for Cosmopolitan Pictures, which enveloped into M&M and countless others. He needs news, so don't be surprised if what we told him gets published in one of those media publications or media outlets. He also uses room as a living room during the winter. For those of you who have taken the Grand Rooms tour, we are standing right above the assembly room, which has a double fireplace. And when this fireplace was going as well, this room got nice and toasty. So he would want all the movie stars to get together and memorize a play or write a skit. He'd want something put on for him after dinner. So he'd send a courier plane down to the Great Western Costume Company, pick up 2 costumes, fly back a wardrobe fitter as well. Movie stars during the day would be at work, memorizing their play, writing their skits. And they wanted to do a good job for him. Because who knows, there were deals to be made, friends to be made, and that performance would be after dinner, after 11:30 at night. Okay, everybody, so if you have any questions about the library or anything?
Are the books like categorized? Like if you wanted something to travel, would you go to this section, or are they just kind of scattered?
No, they're categorized a bit according to subject, some according to set volume. Any other questions?
Where from this table? So solid.
Yeah. So that is made of walnut. It's from Italy, from the 16th century.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Это ореховый стол из Италии 16 века.
Okay, folks, I'll take you up to the Gothic study.
Да.
First bedroom on your left, a little in. Hey everybody, you're in Mr. Hurst's bedroom. Mr. Hurst was, amongst many other things, an antique ceiling collector. This is one of the oldest ceilings on the property from 14th century Spain. It's done in the Mudahar style, which is a combination of of Christian and Islamic motif. It came in flat. When Miss Morgan saw all these panels, she decided to pitch it in order for the panels to be shown off better. It also came with its own frieze. It's F-R-I-E-Z-E. The frieze is something that helps extend the ceiling down, as well as provides a border for the room. And you can see how this frieze matches the flat of the ceiling above us here. This is also a room of family photographs. On the left-hand wall, we have a portrait of Phoebe Hearst. And then straight ahead, these two larger portraits are of George Hearst, Senator of California, from 1886 to 1891. Then on the right side of the bed, folks, we have a later portrait. And who was Phoebe? His mom. Okay, yeah. So George came out to California to be part of the 1850 gold rush. He didn't make it rich in silver at first. In gold at first, he made it rich in silver. He backtracked to Nevada, discovered a silver streak in the Hope Bear mine, and then he and some associates invested in the Comstock Gold, which to this day is the largest silver strike in North America. What did it do for George? It made him the 10th wealthiest guy in the country at the time. In today's dollars, he was worth $500 million. So what's he going to do with all his money? Well, George was raised by pig farmers. He did not surpass the 3rd grade. It didn't mean he wasn't smart. He taught himself about mining and about rocks. So he figured he wanted to climb political and social ladders. He needed a wife to help him do that. So he knows that the Appersons have a daughter named Phoebe. Phoebe is an au pair. She speaks fluent French. She's a school teacher. She's perfect for George. Except there's a problem. Phoebe's parents don't like George because George is 21 years older than Phoebe. So they say to George, you want to marry our daughter, you need to sign a prenup. And that prenup says, George, when you die, Phoebe's going to get all your money. He signed it. In 1862, they go out to San Francisco. 1863, William Hearst is born. He's born at the time that Lincoln is president. He's going to live through 18 presidencies. So when William is 2 1/2, they start bringing him up here. They call this Camp Hill. There's nothing here but dirt and rock. George, being the smart guy that he is, knew that this was the deepest port between Santa Barbara and Monterey. He's going to make money off it. Over 100 years ago, folks, this used to be a whaling community. So George is going to build a very long wharf with some warehouses down below. He's going to get into the whale oil business. And then he knows that these mountains hold a very valuable ore called cinnabar, which is used to help make mercury. He can mine the mountains if he has to. So George gathered 40,000 acres. He paid 75 cents an acre, which meant that he paid $30,000. And for the rest of his life, he complained that he paid too much. Folks, as we leave this room, we're going to go through this tiny hallway here. On the left-hand side, Mr. Hurst's closet, still with his clothing in it. Folks, I'm only stopping in this room because everybody asks us about these lamps. They're floor lamps called torchères from 17th century France. Their lampshades are made of vellum, which is a sheepskin or a goat skin. Miss Morgan asked Mr. Hurst if he would like them personalized. He said sure. So you see their psalms on some. You'll see others with parts of the Constitution, others with parts of the Bible, and parts of the newspapers as well. Next, I'm going to take you into Mary and David's room.
Was Hurst a man of faith?
He describes himself as being a Christian, but non-denominational. So he's into Gothic art, inherent in that are religious artifacts.
Yeah.
Also the Renaissance. And we have to remember at the end of World War II, 1918, all the countries are decimated and they're looking to repair. So they're selling everything for very cheap. So rich people like the Hearst, the Vanderbilts, the Carnegies, the Frisks, they're buying everything up. Okay, everybody, Marion Davies' room. I spoke to you a little bit about Marion downstairs. I'm going to wrap up with her by saying that Mr. Hearst died in 1951 at the age of 88. He had Miss Davies run his company for him for the last 3 years or so of his life. She's very capable, quite smart. And as a result, he left her 51% of the company. His sons didn't like that. They didn't like her. Always blamed her for breaking up the marriage. It simply wasn't true. So she thought about it. And 6 weeks after Mr. Hearst's death, she sold those shares back to the boys for $1. She's making a statement here. She's saying, I loved your father. We had a good relationship. They were together for 34 years, and I do not need your money. And she didn't. So goodness knows the Hearst family still owe Marion Davies a debt of gratitude, because who knows what would have happened if she hadn't done it. In her autobiography, as time goes by, she said that when she was up here in the suite, sewing, reading, he'd be next door working in his Gothic study. It was his habit to work all night. And then he slept between 7 and 11 in the morning. So let's go next door and see where he did all that. Okay, everybody, this is the Gothic study. Above us, 15th century Moorish style ceiling, exposed Moorish style ceiling. Then we have these gigantic Gothic arches made of cement. Mr. Hearst wanted biblical stories on each and every arch. So the resident artist Camille Salon did that for him. Beyond this table in the middle, there is a portrait. You see, they forgot to turn on one of the lights there. That's a portrait of Mr. Hearst that you can barely see. He's 31 years old in that portrait. His best friend Orrin Peck painted that picture, or portrait, I should say. The room beyond that, designated as having no particular use in all the manuals that we study every day. We figure because there's a huge writing desk on the other side of that wall that Mr. Hearst did some writing back there. When he worked in this room, he spread his newspapers out on the floor. He had a long pointer with a red pencil at the end. He'd go around circling his changes to his newspaper. He had a teletype machine up here as well, which is a precursor to texting. That's how he sent his changes through to the East Coast. 3,700 volumes of books in this room, ranging in similar subject to the books downstairs, with the addition of children's literature in here, as well as more books on horticulture, books on poetry, more books on architecture in different languages. Any questions about this room, the study? Okay, next, I'm going to take you up to the Celestial Suites, the highest point that we can climb.
Yes.
Please leave room for everybody to fit in. Okay, everybody, we're in the Celestial Suites. So this is the sitting room. There's a bedroom on each side. Oldest mantelpiece in front of you from 12th century Spain. You'll see that there is a Latin phrase chiseled on top there. And the translation is as follows: this house shines on the earth like the moon does in the sky. It's adorned by 15th century Spanish tile. When Miss Morgan saw that there were animals contained in that tile, she was thrilled with that because she's an animal lover herself, just like Mr. Hurst. So she includes the animal whimsy up into the cast plaster ceiling done by John and Theo Vanderloo, master cast plasters out of Oakland. They did all the cast plaster ceilings on the property. They worked up here for 11 years. The artwork done by Camille Salon and Miss Morgan orders it gilded in 24 karat gold. Then we have the animals contained in the tracery windows on either side. This room is also a tribute to Egypt, a small tribute to Egypt. Phoebe Hearst loved Egypt. She taught her son how to love Egyptian art. She financed several digs over there. And the oldest piece of art on the property, some of you saw yesterday, was Sekhmet, at approximately 3,600 years old. So Mr. Hearst also had a fascination with Napoleon. These paintings here, I'm pointing to a painting by the 19th century French artist Jean-Léon Gérôme. It is of Napoleon looking over the city of Cairo with the pyramids of Giza in the distance. Napoleon was there in 1798. He was there to do battle with Britain. Didn't work out too well for him. Despite that, he crowns himself Emperor of France in 1804. Painting over here, also done by Mr. Gérôme. This is the Napoleon looking over the Sphinx. This was, oh yeah, in the left-hand corner too, you see these shadows. That's of the Napoleon's cavalry sitting atop their horses. So okay, everybody, not only did Mr. Shaw stay in this bedroom, but the gossip columnist Hedda Hopper did as well. She said it was just like sleeping in a golden jewel box because it's gilded in 24 karat gold. When Miss Hopper did stay here, I'm facing west. Right below us is the main terrace with marble benches all around. Some of you may have been on there yesterday. And so people will go down there to sip lemonade, iced tea, play cards, put a crossword puzzle together, maybe play some board games. And when they did that, Miss Hopper would go out on these terraces right here, and all she did was stand there and listen, and that's how she got a lot of her gossip. So above us, another cast plaster ceiling done by the Vanderloos, and right above that, 2,500 gallons of water held in Manel tanks, helping to provide Casa Grande with some of its water. In 1920, there was a guy named Walter Huber. He built a hydroelectric power plant, gravity fed by Pine Mountain. That allowed this estate to get running water and electricity from the get-go. In 1926, the estate was growing so rapidly, Mr. Hearst hooked up with Midland Electric, which becomes California's utility, PG, in 1928. So we have the ceiling, the water tower, the bells. Oh yeah, the bells used to be in this room. Mr. Hearst had a penchant for always wanting more bedrooms. So she said, okay. She raised the bells by 37 feet. So the ceiling, the water tower, the bells, a dome, and a 9-foot weather vane. Yeah, 29,000 pounds above us. And it's okay because it was built by a woman. All right. Any questions about this room? Okay, so when you leave in this little alcove on the right and left side, there are heaters. You just have to flip the switch, close your door, you get nice and toasty in here. When we descend down onto the landing, you'll also see another electric coil heater. So not only did this place get heated by the fireplaces, but by the heaters as well. They're still working today. We're very grateful for them.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, everybody, so we're on the north cloister. So remember the south that was closed off because of all the wind and rain. You're just on the other side. These rooms that are in Baffin are the same rooms that you're hearing from the south side. These are where the cloisters were meant to be, open like this. Mr. Hurst brought up over 70,000 trees, bushes, plants. The only plants native to this mountainside were the California oak, California bay laurel, and pine trees. So all these, for instance, palm trees that you're seeing are over 100 years old. I'm going to point out to our immediate left and right, this is a limestone facade, lightly etched in brick. This is the finished part of the estate. If you look at the north tower over here, this is plain cement. Mr. Hurst simply ran out of time. He had to leave the estate in 1947 because of health. His directive was to ensure everything we can on the inside of the electrical plumbing, but we need to leave it unfinished and down on the left side. If you look at the top of the tower here, you can see unibar. That was meant to be a balcony. Off that before you see this morning. And we'll see rebar. So I'm going to encourage you while you're here, if you want to stick your neck out, look above you, or to the left and right of you. And try to get you to look at this teakwood cornice. It was hand carved by a Swiss-Italian craftsman named Jules Souffo. He carved it up into the San Francisco warehouse, and then he shipped it down in equal sections with the rest of the stuff. It goes around the entire center of Casa Grande, also has 2 tiers. Let's see, you would have put that up about 19. It has a lot of holes in it now. They've been doing that for the last 7 years. So I hope they haven't. That's right. Only the best. Yeah. Okay, folks, next I'm gonna take you into a room called the Della Robbia room.
Я не успел.
Can you close the, Honey Boykin, if everyone's in here? Thank you. Okay, folks, this is the Della Robbia room. The Della Robbias were 14th century ceramicists from Florence, Italy. Samples of their work. Opposite side of the wall here, these round condos. Bust of the boy on the bureau. Work above the mantelpiece. They're responsible for developing a tin glaze called Mayalka. Apparently in the 14th century, if you saw that Mayalka and you didn't have a lot of money, you felt it looked exactly like marble. So they would bring their terracotta pieces to the Della Robbia studios, have them glazed in the white Mayalka, pass it off as marble. Also, these beautiful pastel colors, also called Mayalka. They developed those colors with them. Next, folks, we're going to go down into the southern duplex.
Are these pretty? I'm sorry, these ones?
That's green rock crystal.
Oh, okay.
He does have plenty of brigade and things around. Precious stuff.
Изумрудов.
Thank you.
Она спальня. Кровать.
Okay, folks, when Mr. Hurst asked Miss Morgan for 4 more bedrooms and 4 more sitting rooms, this space was open to the sky. And she had to take a minute to think about it. 8 rooms were a lot to ask for this space. So that's why she decided on duplexes. Bedroom upstairs, sitting room down here. There is 1 more duplex on top of us, then there are 2 more duplexes in the north wing as well. Some of those valuable pieces of art above you by the French artist Simone Bouet. This is our old friend Neptune. He's with his wife Aphrodite above us. And then above the bed is Endymion with Diana or Luna. I'm going to wrap, this is the last room we're going to see inside Casa Grande. So I'll wrap up a little history for you, and then we'll make our way down to the Roman pool. 1929 stock market crash, Great Depression. Mr. Hurst knows that people are suffering, but he doesn't believe that he's going to run out of money. He thinks his stocks and bonds are fine. He continues buying art, building, and having lavish parties. And then it all came to a severe stop in 1937. That's right, he crashed. He was $120 million in debt. He simply was not paying attention. This is a guy who used to bring in $31 million a year with his business. He didn't like to pay his bills on time. He always made people wait. He also robbed Peter to pay Paul. I told you he owned 28 newspapers. He used to call them up all the time. Got any cash? Wire it to me, right? To buy things. So his board of directors got in touch with him and said, hey buddy, I'm paraphrasing here, you're done. You have to start paying your bills in cash. So they froze all his assets. They put him on a $500,000 a year allowance.
Is that back then, or, okay?
Yeah, back then. And so this pissed him off, and he fought with them for about a year and a half. Of course, he loses. And then they hire a conservator for his business, and they make him sell his art collection through Gimbel's department store for 10 cents on the dollar. That's in New York, by the way. So they're giving him a public slap at the face. They also make him sell his 85% of his silver collection through Sotheby's Auction House in New York. Then in 1940, he sells 153,000 acres of his own land to the U.S. Army. They're looking for land to train their troops. This later becomes Fort Hunter Liggett, which is about an hour and a half northeast of here. And then, in 1941, you all remember December 7th, right? Pearl Harbor. So, 4 miles off the coast of Cambria, there were 9 Japanese submarines from the Imperial Army. One of them bombs the USS Mondello, which was an oil tanker. They sink it, still at the bottom of the ocean today. This is when Mr. Hurst and Miss Davies decided to go up to the estate in Wintoon, which was formerly Phoebe's, his mom's. And that's on the California and Oregon border along the McCloud River. And this is where they stayed for about 2.5 years. So they returned in 1945, Mr. Hurst, with a caveat from his doctors, his heart's not doing too well. And they stayed here for 2 more years, and this is when they, in 47, when they leave the estate from there. I told you Mr. Hurst passed away in 51. Miss Davies follows 10 years later at the age of 64. And Miss Morgan, she works until she closes her atelier in about 1950. She passes away in 1957 at the age of 85. And unfortunately, this brilliant woman succumbs to dementia. On that happy note, we're going to make our way down to the Roman pool. We're going to go through a little bit of the gardens. If you think of a question, feel free to ask.
Thank you.
And then you're in the south place to see that was closed off. Now we're going to make our way down. Okay, so tennis court, roof to the Roman pool. Yeah, roof to the Roman pool. I'm just pointing out these glass blocks underneath the tennis court here. So, Mr. Hurst wanted natural light to flow down into the Roman pool. Miss Morgan said, if I do that for you, it's gonna leak. She said, I don't care. She said, okay. It started leaking 80 years ago. 3 years ago, 11,000 cork tiles were removed from the ceiling. They had a mural on them by Kenneth Ceiling. They numbered them in these stations. But as a result, the cement under there is wet. The rebar is rusted. So, yeah, so they have to figure whatever it is they're gonna do. I have no idea, they don't tell us. But a surprise. We tell people that because when y'all look up, y'all say, what happened in the ceiling? Good, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure it was.
She was close. Sure.
No.